So it feels like a wave of AI is kind of here, and I think within this decade is going to just develop more and more. How do we get more people to understand it and prepare themselves and be less fearful of the technology?
I would say, first of all, to understand it better. Not necessarily understand every detail, but understand the basic concepts and maybe the implications of how things work.
Well, I guess there's that. And then like the effects of AI will cause a lot of disruption. How do you get people to be less fearful of the disruption that it's going to create, and it will impact their own lives in a way?
So I would guess that the disruption is, and nobody knows really how it's going to happen, but it's really mysterious is the wrong word, but kind of into that direction. It's not really sure how it's going to happen and what is going to happen. So,
but is it likely that disruption will occur?
Yeah, I would say so, definitely.
So it's like, how do we get more people to be less fearful of the disruption that's coming? We don't know what it is, but how do we prepare?
Yeah, as I said, I'm trying to understand the basics, how it works, and really just on a really basic level, not any technical details, to be able to go to the implications of what it could be possibly doing. For example, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, I read a chapter on this, on the job loss, for example, what can be automated. And you really have to, you really can categorize the professions under 2 or 3 metrics. And then depending on how the occupation lies on that metric, you can say it's more or less likely to be able to be automated. But also for a lot of professions, it's possible that AI can assist you, but not replace you. So that is, I would say, job loss is a really important possible problem, and maybe also sometimes a real problem today. So already that you can take a look at, and I think there are a few more problems that main problems that I've heard about, and you could really look at the problems and then think about them, because it's not the first time that anybody ever thought about them, and there's a lot of ideas how you can think about the problems. For example, if you think that AIs are going to be really advanced and then they going to cause some kind of damage, then there's basically 2 scenarios that you could think about. The first one is kind of the Terminator scenario, where the AIs kind of don't think they need humans anymore and just want to dominate the world, something like this. And I would say, I wouldn't say it's not possible, but I would say it's really, really, really unlikely. And you should also think about how this could even happen with the AI that we have today, because the AI that we have today is I would say really pretty basic.
It's primitive at this point, right?
Yeah, it's primitive. Yeah. It's dumber than a mouse. I think even dumber than a bee, or these kinds of animals. So if you apply it about if you think about it on a lot of different topics, it's pretty advanced in some specific fields, but also is, for example, a calculator. A calculator can do math better than any human, but that doesn't mean that you have to fear a calculator. So that's the difference between narrow AI and broad AI, or general AI. The goal kind of for AI is AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. This would be a system that is able to be general applicable in any kind of field, basically like a human, and then exceed the human performance. So that's another thing that you could worry about. AGI. What happens when AGI is developed? And there, as I said, the Terminator scenario, I don't think this will happen, because you basically worry about something where there's no clue that why it should happen. But there are also other problems, like or fears, for example, that it's going to be used as a bad thing by any kind of actor. So I think more and more AI also gets used in the military. And that's I would say the kind of most probable problem that's going to have really bad impacts in the future, because it's not that it's bad per se, but it's used in a bad way, kind of, because you can use the computer vision AI to, as I said, recognize, for example, oranges, to pick them from the plant. But you can also use computer vision to recognize enemies from satellite images to then throw bombs or something like this. There was I don't know when exactly, a few years back, there the US military used some kind of computer vision AI from Google, I think, to analyze drone footage from I think the Middle East, which a lot of employees from Google were not happy about. So they a lot of them grouped together and said, "Hey, we're not working on this kind of stuff. Don't use it for this." Then it took a little while, and then Google basically stopped working with the military on this matter. So it's not that it's developed, so the problem is AI, but it's used in a bad way. It's kind of like also nuclear energy. You can use it for a power plant, but also for a bomb. So
and going back to what you said earlier, the problems are less scientific, it's more so geopolitical.
Yes, I would say in this case more also application. So not just
the application of it,
how you apply it. And that's where you could say, okay, then we have two options. Should we make research on it, or shouldn't we? Should we make research on it and make sure that nothing bad happens, or should we don't make research on it at all? And I would say that if it's not even possible to stop research on it, because if you don't do it, anybody, someone else will do it. For sure. If an idea about something that impactful is open in the world, then somebody will do it. Somebody would try to do it. So it's not an option, I would say, to stop development in AI research. So then you have to say, okay, how can make it in a good way and apply it in a good way. And that's where really a lot of work should go into. And there's also a lot of institutes that focus on that. For example, also in my university, there's the Institute for Ethics in Artificial Intelligence, and they're looking into this kind of stuff and doing research in that direction. But also there's another problem that I would say, and that's also kind of a real problem, which is sometimes called as the value alignment problem, I would say. Or where a typical example is the paperclip maximizer. So it's a really simple example. You just have an AI and tell him to make a lot of, or tell him, her, it, whatever you want to call it, to make a lot of paper clips. Then you should be really, if it's really let's just say it's an AGI, so it's an artificial general intelligence, then you should really be careful if you say you want the maximum number of paper clips. Because if you just have the raw objective of making paper clips, then the AI maybe could say, okay, I need a lot of metal and stuff like this to produce paper clips. Oh, the humans are in the way. Let's get rid of the humans to make more paper clips. Then you didn't tell the AI to get rid of the humans, but there was not a value alignment from your goal. So if you're building systems, then you should either be really, really, really concrete and detailed about your goal with a lot of edge cases, or you should have kind of a general rule. I think it was Asimov. I don't know his full name. It's a scientific writer. Maybe you know his name.
I'm not sure. Say it again.
Asimov, something Asimov. Maybe
Isaac Asimov, the writer,
Asimov.
science fiction writer.
Yeah. And he has I think 3 or 4 rules for AI, for robots, where there's something.
Okay.
So that's another idea, how should have rules for AIs. It was also mentioned in the
his
film
book is sitting on my shelf right now. I've been meaning to read it.
Yeah, I want to buy books from him too. Also, I don't have one yet, but he's definitely interesting. And the rules kind of were like, don't hurt humans. If you listen to humans, but only if it doesn't conflict with rule number 1, which is don't hurt humans. Or I think it was don't hurt humans and don't let humans get hurt by doing nothing. So you can also try to make some basic rules, and then you establish them for the system, and then you can tell it what to do. But if you don't have these rules and you say something, it could be interpreted the wrong way, and then something bad happens. So that's kind of some ideas. So